ever feel like each year has just more and more content for film and TV to keep up with? Yet at the same time you're waiting multiple years for the next season to come out for a beloved TV show, or 10 years for a sequel movie? Same. It can be hard to keep track. But this year I want to start off strong and lay out all the upcoming film and TV releases I'm interested in, and see what I initially think of their existence. Because as we know on this channel, I'm a glutton for punishment, and views. And I will go and see something that I genuinely think is going to be horrific if I think a video I make on it's going to bring in the dough. So some's going to be good, some's going to be bad, some might just be a bit meh. We won't know for sure until we watch, so let's speculate until we do. Just before I get started, all this information I have is from basic research. I may miss some key releases and hopefully not anything too big, otherwise I've done a terrible job. So with all that being said, let's get started. I think I'll start with TV first, as there's more movies to discuss afterwards, and we can get this one out of the way. We'll start with the stuff I'm most keen to see, and then to what I'm mildly interested in, and then finally to what I'm dreading, and I'll rank them by release date as well. Good to start with the positives, I think. In the hyped category, we have Miraculous Season 6, which begins airing on the 25th of January. It's no secret that this show is my guilty pleasure. Teen superheroes with magical genies and whack storylines, it's what I enjoy in life. Sue me. With their latest special setting up a brand new villain to actually be intelligent and a true rival to the heroes, alongside more sophisticated writing and fresh animation, what's not to like? The last arc may have ended in an unsatisfying way, but with a year and a half to cool off over it, I'm ready with fresh eyes and enthusiasm to start the show again. Fingers crossed it delivers. Still on the superhero train, but with a whole different vibe, we have Daredevil Born Again. I'm writing this video the day after we got the trailer, so I think my excitement is at its strongest point as we speak. Contrary to what my YouTube channel might suggest, I do enjoy gritty and action-heavy media. You need balance in life, you know. Thank God they brought down the episode count, though. I know I always whine about wanting more episodes, but 18 in this day and age is a behemoth of an undertaking. 9 is far more manageable. Daredevil was quite literally the best part of She-Hulk, and Kingpin's appearance in Hawkeye was such a tease, so I can't wait to see how much more ingrained in the MCU world they are, whilst also being self-contained. I'm really hyped for this one. Although the trailer itself was making me wince with sympathetic cringe at the snapping of limbs and whatnot, so I'll have to prepare myself for that. Next up, we have The Last of Us Season 2. Now, I'll be upfront with you, I haven't actually seen the first season. Not for a lack of want, but like I said at the beginning of the video, there's just an endless horde of content to watch and catch up on. I just missed out on it. However, I have played both games, and I really liked them. Plus, I have heard genuinely amazing things about the show, so I'll definitely be watching the first season before this comes around in April this year. Very excited. Then we have the final season of Squid Game, with Season 3 releasing at some point this year. I think it's been leaked it's going to be releasing around the end of June, but until we get official confirmation, I can't state that as fact. I watched Season 2 over the Christmas period, and I was more hooked than I ever was before. The writing is just so good on that show that I was legitimately kicking myself for temporarily liking In-Ho. I won't spoil much here as it's only been released pretty recently, but I will say I'm pretty keen to see how it ends, and I hope everybody survives. They won't, but it's my wish, goddammit. We also have Stranger Things 5 slated for release at, I assume, the end of this year. It's been stated that the release date should be announced somewhere in 2025, but I do have my doubts. They only just finished filming in January, I believe, and with how much content and special effects they'll need to do, I could see it being postponed. I hope not, because I'm very keen to see how it all ends, but I've been burned before, and so I don't have high hopes for a 2025 release. I still put it here because that's what they've said, but I'm not going to be holding my breath for it. Even so, it'll be the end of an era, and I'll be sad when it's gone. Let's hope it's a satisfying conclusion to an awesome show. Percy Jackson Season 2 is also slated to release this year, I presume at the end, just like the first season. Again, I'm not 100% sure it's going to be released this year. As far as I'm aware, they haven't actually finished filming, although reports have stated they're meant to finish this month. They'll still have to do all sorts of visual effects though, and line it up with everything else in Disney's catalogue, so we'll see. I hope so, but again, shows get delayed all the time. The only thing I'm truly hoping for is for Disney to greenlight the future seasons already. The kid that plays Percy is already 16 now, the age that he should be when the final season's filmed if we're going by book lore. I totally get that they often hire adult actors to play teenagers all the time in Hollywood, and that tends to be fine if you start them off acting as 16/17-year-olds and then they progress. But when you start with them as 12 to 13-year-olds and have them acting over a 10-year period, it becomes more obvious that they aren't the age they're supposed to be acting as. It's not a deal breaker, but it is an unfortunate side effect if you're not planning it as a whole series. That little rant might make me sound super negative about the show, but I am genuinely keen to see the second season. Can't wait to see the second book come to life on screen. The next category we have is mildly interested. These are the shows I'll most likely watch, but I'm not as excited for as the first category. We'll start off with the new animated TV show from Marvel, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which releases on the 29th of January. Now, this sentiment may seem contradictory to my previous trailer analysis, where I was like, oh my god, it looks so amazing, guys! And I'd say you aren't really wrong by saying that, but It's in this category in the grand scheme of things. I'm definitely excited to see it, just not as much as those other things, you know? I do think it'll be a lot of fun though, and a good step back into the MCU. I've kind of let my Marvel watching go to the wayside in recent years due to the sheer amount there was to keep up with, so there's nothing quite like Spider-Man to pull you back in. Entering back into the Star Wars franchise, we have Andor Season 2, which is scheduled for the 22nd of April. I really liked the first season a lot, so much so that I was surprised I'm not as hyped for this as I think I should be. I think it's because it's been so long between seasons. I was even looking into the release date and was shocked that it had 12 episodes. I decided to look at how many episodes the previous season had, only to realise that also had 12 episodes. It's been so out of sight, out of mind that I've forgotten how long the season actually ran for. In my memory, it feels like the first season was rather short, but I think that's just because it's been so long. In any case, I really did enjoy the first season, and I hope the next one delivers. It's nothing like anything else in the Star Wars franchise, at least that I've seen, and so it's something different to enjoy. The only thing I ask for is for B2 to be safe. He's so adorable, and I think my favourite character in the entire franchise at this point. He must be protected at all costs. For something a little bit different, I'm keen to see the new Asterix and Obelix series coming to Netflix around October this year. I've been vaguely aware of some fresh animated movies being made, and it seems this series is yet another installment into that world. Apparently there was a critically panned live-action movie that was released in 2023, and I think it's clear to see why. Oh dear lord. That was never on my radar, otherwise I might have considered suffering through it. Anyway, I loved the comics as a kid, and this series seems like it should be fun, so I might give it a shot. The epitome of mildly interested. We also have a brand new installment into the Game of Thrones universe, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which is set to release around the end of this year. Normally I'd have this higher up on my interest list, but there's one glaring issue that's becoming difficult to ignore. This universe seems cursed. Every time I start watching it, I think, great, what an awesome story, I'm hyped, I'm enjoying myself. What could possibly go wrong? Well, I'll tell you what goes wrong, the writing goes wrong. It happened towards the end of Game of Thrones, and it happened again in Season 2 of House of the Dragon. Why can writers not help themselves but to butcher a very, very straightforward story? I understand sometimes things need to be changed from book to screen to make sense. I have no problem with that, because it's never really the super important stuff they need to change. But for God's sake, they keep bungling the characters and making such off choices with the writing that I'm so convinced it's going to happen again here. Which is a shame because I actually love this little book, and I think it's such an awesome story to tell. That's what's keeping me interested against my better judgment. Let's hope I'm wrong, and it's genuinely good. Netflix is also releasing a brand new animated series within the Hotel Transylvania franchise titled Motel Transylvania. The release date again seems to be somewhere in 2025. No other real information than that, and the general premise, which is that Dracula and Mavis take a break from running the hotel to start up a brand new resort in California. Seems interesting to take a break from running a hotel to run a slightly smaller hotel, but who cares really? I love this franchise. The first and second films are my favourites. Actually haven't seen the fourth one yet, so I'll have to get around to that. But the humour is often so good, the characters are fun, and it's just a good time. Hopefully the series keeps up with that. Finally, in the mildly interested category, we have a brand new original series by Netflix titled Wolf King. It's an animated TV show based on the book series Wereworld. The premise involves a 16-year-old boy being the last in an ancestral line of werewolves living under the tyrannical rule of the Lion Lords and needing to take back his throne. The animation looks kind of Telltale Games-esque and also has a bit of a Dragon Prince sort of vibe. Just an interesting, fresh story. I only discovered this series today and I'm genuinely keen for its release. I think we might actually have a sleeper hit on our hands. Fingers crossed anyway. Now the final category we have is dread. Although I don't think that term is particularly applicable to the first TV show I've put here. More apathy than anything else. The show I'm referring to is Marvel's Ironheart, scheduled for the 24th of June. I just have very little interest. I haven't seen a proper trailer or anything like that. I think maybe something was released at D23 last year, but also the audio sounds as though it's fan-made, so until something official releases by Marvel, I'll just stay in my apathetic state. Wasn't a whole lot of her in Black Panther 2 to really captivate me, and so it's just not something I'm looking forward to. If they have a super cool premise and a cool trailer, my mind could change, but as of now I have no desire to watch it. With all the upcoming TV shows I'm aware of scheduled to release this year out of the way, we'll move on to films. Starting off once again in the most excited category, we have the live-action adaptation of Lilo and Stitch, with the release date of the 22nd of May. Now I know a lot of people will be concerned for an adaptation of such a beloved film. I was too once upon a time. Genuinely though, from the teasers and the posters recreating the marketing shtick used for the original, the way that Stitch actually looks, and the overall vibe, just gives off success to me. I think Disney is actually going to get this one right. It's an early call, but I just have a feeling. You might think me a fool for thinking that any live-action remake could possibly be good, but there are just ones that I genuinely enjoy, and I think this is going to hit that list. This is coming from someone that loves Lilo and Stitch, so I have a lot to lose if this doesn't go well. My nostalgia will die. It might be my most anticipated film for the year, honestly. I'm that hyped for it. Moving on, we have The Karate Kid Legends, releasing on the 29th of May. I'm very excited for this one too. The simultaneous shock and joy I felt when Daniel appeared in the trailer cannot be understated. Combining both the Karate Kid franchises I love is so hype. The kid seems like someone you can really root for, and it feels like a perfect blockbuster film. I really hope this one does well. As a side note, if Jaden Smith doesn't even make a small appearance, I'm going to be really disappointed. I know I said in my trailer reaction that the most important character in the 2010 film was Jackie Chan, but come on, my boy Dre needs to be in there too. Next we have Pixar's Elio, which is scheduled to release on the 19th of June. I honestly really liked the trailer for this movie. It was meant to release last year, but the release dates got switched around. I presume because of monetary reasons that paid off spectacularly with Inside Out 2. Now that it's finally releasing, I can be properly invested again. The premise seems lighthearted and fun, the animation looks good, and just nice to have an original animated film to genuinely look forward to seeing. The last few installments by Pixar and Disney, you could tell by the trailers that they weren't going to be that good, but I still went and saw them regardless. This is a nice change of pace. Then we have a pure nostalgia pick with Freakier Friday, the sequel to the beloved 2003 classic, Freaky Friday. Its release date is the 7th of August. Honestly, kind of shocked it's getting a cinematic release. I hope that pays off. I have fond memories of going to watch these silly, lighthearted family comedies in the cinema as a kid. These days, though, they only tend to release on streaming, and so it feels like a return to a bygone era. Slightly dramatic, I know, it was only 20 years ago, but still, it is a bygone era. I'm keen, can't wait for it. The newest DreamWorks franchise, The Bad Guys, get its sequel release on the 18th of September. I love the first film. What a breath of fresh air that was. Alongside Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, it was the beginning of DreamWorks spreading its creative wings and animating in different styles. Whilst their two holiday specials have not been the best, this doesn't deter me in the slightest. Often straight-to-streaming kids specials are of a low caliber anyway, and I don't think this reflects the writing or the creative direction of the sequel in the slightest. The trailer looks great, and I'm expecting another fun installment. The sequel to the viral sensation Wicked, titled Wicked for Good, will release on the 20th of November this year. Now, I'll be real with you, I had very little desire to see the first Wicked movie. For whatever reason, the trailer just didn't captivate me. However, I knew that my girlfriend wanted to see it, so off we went, and oh boy, it was good! Neither of us had seen the musical before, and all I knew of the songs were the Glee covers. The soundtrack is still in my playlist regularly, and I think because I wasn't expecting to like the movie so much, it made it even more special in a way. So all aboard the hype train this time around, and I cannot wait for the sequel. Bring it on! The final film that makes up the hype category is, of course, Zootopia 2, with a scheduled release date of the 26th of November. Now I feel like a fool for saying that Lilo & Stitch is my most anticipated film of the year, because now I think this is. How could I forget my beloved Zootopia? It's up there with Tangled as being my two favourite Disney films ever. Getting a sequel almost 10 years after the first one? Oh, it's been too long! That's all I can say, it's been too long. Don't even have a trailer yet. But I'm just so excited for it, hell yeah. The next category we're moving on to is the mildly interested category. We'll most likely watch these, but I'm not rabid with anticipation for it. We'll start off with Captain America: Brave New World, scheduled to release on the 13th of February. I'll be real with you, watched the trailer, and whilst it looked good, it also felt very generic to me, you know? There's always the hype moments, of course, but the trailer for the Thunderbolts also came out around the same time, and off the top of my head, the scenes sometimes felt so interchangeable, I couldn't remember which scene belonged to which trailer. That's not really the sort of vibe you want to have in your cinematic universe, I think. If it's within the same general mini-franchise, sure. But these movies are, as far as I'm aware, completely disconnected from one another, so it's not a positive for me. Like I said though, I still like the trailer, so I'll probably give it a watch. Then we have The Electric State. Honestly, I thought whilst I was writing this script, I was going to be putting this into the dreaded category. The visuals I'd seen of the robots were so off-putting to me that I couldn't help but nope right out of it. She's gonna eat me! Of course it couldn't be good, I thought. Then, before I started writing about this, I figured I should at least watch the trailer. At least give it that. While I'm eating my words now, I can't deny that the trailer did grip me. It's kind of got a stacked cast too. Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt, Stanley Tucci, and then there's a whole stacked voice cast on top of that. I knew it was made by the Russo brothers, but I still had my doubts. The music though, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, it got me. And the connection with the robots kind of sold me. So now I'm interested. I'm still a little nervous though. Not sure how good it's going to be, but I'm more open to it. Here we have the highly anticipated, for all the wrong reasons, Snow White remake, releasing on the 20th of March. Now you might be thinking, hang on, what on earth is this monstrosity doing in the mildly interested category? Shouldn't this be the film you're dreading most of all? And whilst you're close, technically I'm dreading Minecraft most of all. There was a trailer clip that was recently released that made me change my mind on it slightly. There was a snippet of a song, Waiting on a Wish, released, and whilst people are concerned it could be replacing I'm Wishing, you can't deny the song slap. I really liked it. It felt very traditional musical to me, and that's kind of what you want, I think, in a remake of Disney's first feature-length film. I'm not saying the soundtrack will save the movie, but I am saying I'm going to go into it with an open mind, and it's piqued my interest, so we'll see. Then we have Dogman, releasing on the 3rd of April. Don't worry, I can already hear the confusion. I realise that the film is actually being released in the US on the 31st of January, but living in Australia, sometimes you get delayed releases, particularly with family films to line up with the school holidays. So that's why I'm going with the release date respective to where I live, because that's when I'll be able to watch it. It's a bit of a shame, and I hope I don't get spoiled, but it is what it is. I have no familiarity with the book series. All I know is it's popular, and the animation looks very similar in design to the books, which is a good thing in my eyes. The trailer looks fun and exciting, and is proof that DreamWorks is further digging their heels into a different animation style, which I love, especially when they're being faithful to the source material. Just looks like a cute family film, and would surely be a good watch when it comes out. Another Marvel film's next, Thunderbolts, with a release date scheduled for the 1st of May. Again, I'm pretty meh overall on this film. I think the trailer looked maybe a little better than Captain America, but I think that was solely due to there being more relevant characters. There's more chemistry, and so it seems more enjoyable, at least to me. I really enjoyed Yelena in both Black Widow and Hawkeye, so I think that adds to it for me. Still a bit meh on it though. Next we have the live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon on the 12th of June. The trailer really did look pretty good. I'm still a little bit apprehensive about it though. I just can't get the kid's hair out of my mind. Dude had high quality hair straightener back in the Viking Age. Just takes me out of it. However, the attention to detail and the attempt to get it as close as possible looking to the animated film is a huge bonus. I very much hope that it's good. We have a brand new Jurassic movie titled Jurassic World Rebirth releasing on the 3rd of July. This one follows off 5 years after the last movie Dominion and deals with the after effects of having dinosaurs roam the world once more. I have mixed feelings about this movie. For one, I'm kind of annoyed that we're leaving off from the previous characters completely, just a hard cut. I know it's a soft reboot or whatever, but I like them. I know that might be an unpopular opinion, but it's true. Even if they retconned the whole Maisie storyline, I honestly didn't care. It's a bunch of dinosaurs chasing people. I'm not there for the plot. Plus, I found the whole family dynamic rather cute. Would have been fun to continue following them, even if they weren't the main characters in the fresh saga. I am looking forward to this one, though. Got some great actors in it. Jonathan Bailey, Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali. Even if the script was a bit dodgy, I reckon these guys could pull it off. Should be enjoyable. The first film in James Gunn's DCU, Superman, is scheduled to release the 10th of July. Once again, I'm mixed on this one. The trailer's awesome, there's no denying that. Loved it immensely, and it filled me with genuine hope that this would be a great movie. On the other hand, I've been burned so many times with Superman that it's very difficult to have faith in a good adaptation. The character by nature, in my opinion, can come across as completely vanilla and devoid of charisma. I like Henry Cavill as an actor. I think he's awesome in many roles. I didn't love his Superman. I don't even think it's the actor's fault. They just never write him to be anything more than a monotone savior. I love James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy, and if he can turn those no-name fringe Marvel heroes into household names, then I think he can turn Superman around too. The new Fantastic Four movie, First Steps, is scheduled to release on the 24th of July. Not super well versed when it comes to the Fantastic Four, but I know there's a lot of hype and expectation here. It does have a good cast: Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, all standout actors. And hopefully this is the redemption these characters deserve. They're going for a 60s vibe, which I think is going to help the film stand out way more, and just on first glance, I think it's actually going to be pretty good. Then we have Downton Abbey 3. I know, a big turnaround from superheroes. This film's scheduled for the 11th of September. I love Downton Abbey. I grew up on all sorts of period dramas, and Downton Abbey was no exception. However, I kind of dropped off the show after I started uni, and I never really picked it back up. But this is the perfect excuse to jump back into the world again and give it a good rewatch. I have no knowledge of what the film's about, but I'm still committed. Returning for its third installment, we have James Cameron's third Avatar film, Fire and Ash, releasing on the 18th of December. It's been a while, but from memory, I think I enjoyed the second film. Avatar's kind of weird that way. It was an immense success when the first film came out, largely because no one had seen CGI that good before. The story, while serviceable, wasn't the main talking point when everyone went to see it. The statement, Avatar wasn't that good, was commonly used around the 2010s. So a lot of people were majorly doubtful, myself included, when 4 sequel movies were greenlit for the franchise. However, I found the story to be a bit more in-depth and better all around this time. I wouldn't say I've rewatched the film since it's released, because I haven't, but it isn't bad either. It's enjoyable, and the visuals are genuinely worth the ticket alone. I'm looking forward to it, just not immensely. Before we move into the dreadful category, we actually have a movie without a set release date. The Twits is an animated adaptation of the Roald Dahl book that's scheduled to release on Netflix at some point this year, I presume towards the end. I tend to enjoy a lot of the animated films released by Netflix, and I presume this will be no different. I read the book as a kid, and it seems like a good premise for a film, so fingers crossed it'll be good. I reckon it could be very funny. Now we can move into the films I'm dreading. I may watch these, I may not, depends on how many video ideas I have at the time. If lacking, I will resort to reviewing them. Some I think I might actually be unable to avoid as well, but we'll see. First up on the dreaded list is the Minecraft movie, which has a release date of the 3rd of April. Man, what a low point in Jack Black's career. It looks awful. The jokes are lame, they don't land, I have nothing good to say about the trailer. All I can say is obviously going to be panned, and everyone on the internet's going to most likely hate it, and I'll probably be adding my voice to that too. I really have zero desire to see this, but I'm gonna. Next up, we have the Smurfs. That's right, the Smurfs. Did you know they were making this? Because I didn't until today. Scheduled for release on the 10th of July, it has a surprisingly stacked cast, Rihanna among them. What's going on? Why are we still making Smurf movies? Maybe it'll be good, but I have a visual aversion to the Smurfs. I never watched the animated films that released in the 2010s, and I don't intend to. They just look so creepy to me. I'm not looking forward to this. Finally, we have Happy Gilmore 2, which is meant to release at some point this year. They just finished filming it, so I'd expect towards the end of the year. Gotta be real with you, don't really love Adam Sandler movies for the most part. The only exception I have is his animated roles. I love him in Hotel Transylvania and Leo, but in my childhood, his other films were always kind of weird. I didn't really like the humor in them. I assume this will be no different. Would be nice to be wrong though. That's a lot to be getting on with. Lots of film and TV slated for this year. I hope nothing gets delayed, especially in regards to TV, as we normally have to wait so long between seasons. But we'll see. Lots to look forward to, and I hope some fun surprises that haven't been announced yet. With all that being said, though, this has just been my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What are your thoughts on the upcoming film and TV schedule? Anything you're excited for? Anything I've missed? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.